Welcome to Kryptic Soulz, the podcast about all things horror. Sit back, relax, and get ready to delve into the dark abyss of things that go bump in the night. And now, here are your hosts, Jeff Scott, Meg Scott, and Dave Bates.
Welcome, episode 4 of Kryptic Soulz. We finally made it. I know we're a little late on this one, but that's okay. A lot of stuff going on in our personal lives. New jobs, old jobs, and just a
extra
lot of
jobs.
Yeah, just a lot of stuff going on.
And nothing.
Yeah. So going back to school is going on now for some of us and everything. So yeah, just we're lucky enough to get back into it today. So welcome to the episode. I am Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And unfortunately, Meg could not be here as she is doing her homework like a good girl. Good on her. But that's the downside of going back to college.
Yeah, you think you'd get out of homework after, the adulting thing started. But
yeah, I know. It just gets weird. But, what happened was a pandemic. We had nothing else to do. And this is before I got a new job. And we're sitting there going, what should we do? I'm bored. I know, let's go back to school. And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's see what goes on. So I enrolled only 2 classes. So I kept it simple because I don't know what I'm doing. She wanted to go for finance. And so she has a nice load this semester and everything. So we're doing that. And then, well, here we are, first week doing it. And, yeah. So far it's going good, and I just got the new job. I've been there 3 weeks now. That's one of the reasons why the episode is late, because I've been dead tired. I mean, you have 2 years of not working and then suddenly thrown into mandatory overtime Monday through Friday. So it's like, but here we are, episode 4. And because last month, which technically this episode is 4, so it could be this month. We could have lied and just say, yeah, we're just late on putting it up, but I can't lie to you people. It's just it would be untruthful.
Yeah, if we're gonna start lying, we gotta at least gain some trust first.
Exactly.
Before we let you down.
And make it a good lie.
Yeah.
But so this episode, because last month we had Friday the 13th, the first Friday the 13th of the year, we figured we'll kind of devote this episode to just talk about Friday the 13th and maybe hit on the movies, maybe the TV series, and who knows what else might come up. So we figured, why not? We have nothing else to do.
Maybe some games, rumors, logic.
Exactly.
Logic?
No logic.
Gossip.
Yeah, gossip, not logic.
There's no logic in that.
Yeah, those movies, I mean, come on. No horror movie ever has any logical explanation. He's running up the stairs instead of out the door. Mm-hmm. It's like, come on. We all know that. But, that's the reason why we keep coming back, because they're so absurdly stupid. And the kills are fun. And it's just, you want to see stupid teenagers get killed for doing dumb things. So
Promiscuous.
Oh, yeah, that too. You know what they say? You open it up, you die. That's why the blonde always lives at the end. So how should we start this? So we'll talk Friday the 13th, but how do you start something like this? Like, I mean, everybody and their mother literally has talked about these movies. I mean, I've been scouring the internet trying to figure out, like, is there anything new about these movies? I mean, as of right now, there are no movies coming out right now.
No.
Because of a nice little lawsuit that Victor Miller decided to say, hey, I want my rights back. And Sean Cunningham goes, but you were work for hire. No. And they could not find the paperwork to prove that, and here we are.
So now it's he said.
Yeah, he said, and which affected a lot of stuff, like video games, other movies, books, anything and everything it affected. Like, they just came out the Friday the 13th, the game. It was really good.
Yeah, and I heard they're not allowed any more updates from here. Like, they're just done until that's settled. Yeah. If it's ever settled.
Yeah, well, the sad part with that is that a video game company that sits there for this long, it's been about 3 years, yeah, they moved on. Like, the only people left are admins that are only allowed to fix bugs and do those updates, but the last one just came out recently, and that was it. And they can't add any new content. They were in the middle of doing the Jason X map with the Uber Jason and everything, and add in all these new characters. And
nice.
Possibly even put Jason's mother in there, and it just affected the whole thing. And as a Kickstarter backer of the game, I was mad. I'm like, come on, I helped make this game, and all the thousands of people that did the same thing, and that happened. So, and I was, as of right now, no movies are being made because of that, because I think they were going to try to do a TV series at one point, and some other kind of stuff like Crystal Lake Memoirs or something. I don't know. I forget.
Hey, Crystal Lake Memories.
Yeah.
Well, that came out a while ago.
But that was more of a documentary. But I think they were trying to do like a series.
A series. All right,
stuff.
I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, around there. Like, I'm going back years. Right before that, like I heard rumors, and the talk was that they were going to make an anthology series and just have stories around Crystal Lake, and maybe Jason would show up every once in a while, but obviously that never happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, so the only thing I was able to find is maybe some 13 fun facts. See what I did there? See what I said there? Yeah, about Friday the 13th. So I figured like we can start it off by talking about that, and then just talk about the movies as we go along, and then maybe some of our best ones. Which ones do we like the best? And, maybe some of the best kills, or maybe good quotes that we might have from it. Outside of,
you're all doomed.
You're all gonna die.
No, that was Poltergeist.
I thought that was they're here.
But remember Kane? You're all gonna die in there.
Oh, that's right.
All of you.
Oh, God. I just remember the first one. It's like, you moved the cemetery, but you didn't move the bodies.
You only moved the headstones.
Yeah. And of course, we just jumped to a completely different movie. Sorry, guys. All right. So I figured, we'll throw these out there and see if anybody out there knows these fun facts. So, starting with number 13. A lot of people might already know this, but Jason's name was originally Josh. Because that sounds so scary.
Yeah, I forget where that came from, but yeah, and then they were saying, I forget which one of the two it was, but said that, yeah, it just didn't have that oomph to it.
Yeah, it was Sean Cunningham that wanted that name because it was in the original script.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess in his mind he's thinking no one's gonna care, it's a quick scene, they're not the one at the end that was ad-libbed on shooting.
Yeah,
we're talking about the flashback with him drowning and all that. They're like, no one's gonna know, I'm not gonna make any sequels with this, it's one and done, so his name is Josh Voorhees and no one's gonna remember that.
Yeah,
and they changed it, which is a good thing.
Which I think it was Victor that said, he had like a childhood bully or something. His name was Jason, so he was just kind of in that,
Exactly. So like,
F all people named Jason, therefore we're going to make our bad guy that. Yeah. And it does have, it is weird thinking like everything else being the same, like, and just everybody, I'm dressing up as Josh this year for Halloween. Like,
Josh Takes Manhattan, Josh X, Freddy versus Josh. I mean, it sounds like he's up against a stoner.
It sounds like a really horrible attempt to reboot like Animal House.
Oh my God.
Freddy versus Josh.
I know, right? Although Josh X has a little ring to it,
They're fighting over Buffy.
Oh man, so good thing they changed that, and good thing they made sequels too, and they changed the name. Otherwise, it would have just been weird.
Yeah, I never thought that much into it till just now. Like, how cringy a lot of the Joshness would have been.
I know, right? Can you just see T-shirts? It's like Josh with Jason's face there.
They did that documentary a few years ago. His name was Josh.
Yeah. Oh man.
How about we just do an interview, an episode all on Josh?
Oh, just the name alone, Josh, is a horror. Anybody out there named Josh? Let us know how bad you were. Oh, we're going to get so much hate mail.
You suck.
At least we get hate mail if we did that. Anyways. So, number 12, something interesting. Apparently, in 1987, if it had gone as planned, they were going to try to have crossovers with Freddy. They've been trying to do this for a long time.
Yeah, right around episode 7, they...
Yep. And apparently, in one of the episodes, I guess, Freddy's Nightmares, they were going to have Freddy actually, because originally he was a child molester, molest Jason. So it's going to be like something to add to the mythos, I guess you could say, of these two characters to kind of come together, and maybe that's why they're fighting each other. But
yeah, and I know that was a couple incarnations of the crossover script.
Yeah, but it was going to be like a flashback when he was still living and all that, and apparently he was going to work as a counselor at Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
And, well, obviously that never happened, and truthfully, I'm kind of happy. That would have just been, to me, ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, if they played everything else right, I don't think I would have been opposed to that idea, but yeah, it sounds like other than that, it was they never really had any substance to any of the other ideas.
Yeah, I mean, even the Freddy versus Jason movie, it's just one of those, like, all of a sudden Jason's like dead and rotting in the middle of the woods, and Freddy brings him back. I'm like, that's just
another connection I recently made, though, because I know one of the big gripes about Jason X was, he goes to hell, and then Jason X, it was just like, oh yeah, we've been trying to kill him for years and years, and like nothing ever works, and it's like, well, how did they get him back from hell? So I did actually like, I guess it was a retcon in a sense of the crossover, because chronologically it takes place before Jason X. Therefore, then that's how he came back from hell. Freddy brought him back.
Well,
I don't know why I didn't think of that, but I was listening to something about, I think it was about the crossover movie. And it was just like, well, wait, in the timeline, that happens before Jason X by at least a couple years. So I was like, well, that ties up that loophole.
I never really thought of it that way, truthfully, about that. I mean, it could kind of make sense, but Jason was dragged to hell at his old family's house and dragged down. But here his body was just in the middle of the woods and did the whole a la Freddy coming back in number 4. Nightmare on Elm Street 4, where his body just comes out of the grave and just redoes, which is odd. So I think I could see the crossover with that, but why would his body suddenly be in the middle of the woods? Like, it's almost like
maybe the house that he got sucked underneath, maybe that got leveled, and then the woods grew up around, because it was kind of in the middle of the woods.
True. I mean, it's a stretch, because you already lose continuity between 8 and 9 in the first place. Like, he is in the sewers of New York, and the toxic waste comes through, because that's believable. New York having toxic waste thrown, and then reverts back to a young kid or something. I mean, I understand it's supposed to be she just sees him as a young kid, but it's really just the body burning up or whatever.
Yeah, he was just washed away, but once it went away, like, that's what she saw.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, 9, he's wearing the overalls, and he has the bloated head wrapped around the mask. I'm thinking,
that's what New York will do to you.
Yeah, and the other thing with that is, how did he get a new mask? Because I just realized something halfway. Which movie was it where? Oh yeah, 7.
7, it got shattered. 8, though, in the beginning of 8, when he killed those kids on the boat.
Oh, that's right.
In the opening.
Mask. But didn't it have a slit in it too? I'm starting.
I don't remember, but I think they did that, and yes, that's not good.
Yeah, so that those little details I always forget, but just
I feel like they put it in, and it was like, do you realize that mask is long gone? Like, you're trying to impose a continuity that was removed from the equation.
Yeah, and they had every opportunity to just say, okay, he got washed out to sea, toxic waste, that made him look like that whole bubbly headed look, feel to it. It would have been great if they showed a scene instead of the cop trying to track him down. although that would have been cool later on. But a scene where, or am I thinking of? No, I'm thinking of 9. That's right. Cops finally believe he's alive. They're trying to track him down. He's coming out. He kills someone, takes the overall. The mask is fused to his face. Mm-hmm. That would have made so much sense. Connect the movies. Okay, now how are we going to get this guy? We'll go back to Crystal Lake. He is going to come back there. That would make more sense. Blow him up, and let's introduce this new power, and the whole movie's going to suck from there on out. Okay, that would have made a lot of sense. You know?
I mean, as much sense as... I mean, did they really have to tie it together? Because then again, you're looking at the whole idea of him hopping on a boat in the middle of Crystal Lake, and then somehow he ends up, you know, at a shipyard heading off to New York.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's continuity. He's still under there with the chain or the father holding him.
But I'm saying, like, geographically getting from Crystal Lake to...
Well... Yeah,
which everybody's called out, but
yeah, I mean,
so of course I'm gonna.
It's a lake, but it's not connected to anything because I think lakes are. I think it's like, I don't know, maybe. So yeah, I mean, the whole idea of him drifting out somewhere made no sense.
Yeah, I think even Rob Hedden was just like, it got to the point where just, you know, just go with it. Like, don't.
I mean, it would have made sense if he did get on there and then all of a sudden hit the gas and it would actually start moving on its own to go against the current, and then somehow just make it out there and he's just standing there watching this. Is like, okay, where am I going? You know, that would have made more sense. Or track down the teens to the boat or something ridiculous. They could have come up with something better. But like we said, this is a horror movie and it's so outlandish, you know, with half this stuff, the kill scenes and everything, and it's like, I mean, do we have to bring up Crispin Glover's dance? I mean, we've already went out there.
That's like the highlight of the series.
It's like I forgot all about that until I rewatched most of it, and I'm like, oh, that's right, he's in this, and he's Crispin. There it is. So
I loved him in that, and it's funny too because I didn't see that one until like well after Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It was probably like shortly before Jason Lives came out that I finally saw 4. So at that point I'm like, oh my god, there's George McFly, and then I realized he's the greatest thing in this movie.
Yeah, he definitely stands out when you think about it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'll be honest, like the very first Jason movie I've ever seen was 6.
Mm-hmm.
6 was the one that introduced me to the whole thing.
That was the first one I was familiar with. I remember having sleepovers at friends' houses as a kid, and you know, we'd sneak in. Like, I could still picture the exact scenario when I first saw 4. I had an older cousin that saw 3 in the theater, and I remember that summer we were all hanging out in one of our pools, and yeah, she was like, oh my god, there was this movie, and this girl, she got this spear in the eye, and then the killer, he put on this hockey mask, and so it was like all these things going on. But it was like 6, like when I saw that, I probably saw it like 50 times in that first year that it was out on video.
Yeah 6 was definitely the one that it
was definitely the MTV.
Yeah, the MTV, let's make him undead with supernatural powers type of thing, like, you know, comes back a la Frankenstein-esque. But before that, it was just a dude that would be basically pretty beat up by 4. And then 5 comes out, and it's not even him. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's not even in the movie.
Spoilers.
But, yeah. If you haven't seen it, too bad. I mean, you kind of figured out the mask is different, and at the same time, like, people are saying, oh, he was in the movie. No, he wasn't. But the flashbacks count. Flashbacks don't count. It's like, you know, retelling of a story. That's all it is.
That wasn't Jason. That was a hallucination.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hello. He wasn't real to begin with. You know, I don't know. I mean, the whole thing's just ridiculous to begin with. I mean, the dude gets an axe. He gets a machete. He gets shot, hung. I mean, how many... It's like, and he can't die, and then all of a sudden he does die, and he's buried, and then they bring him back with the lightning strike out of nowhere. Suddenly it starts raining, and I'm like, technically that wouldn't have happened scientifically because the trees are taller than that, Jason's below ground, and the fence is higher. So, okay, that's already out the window. But
Pamela summoned that to resurrect her.
yeah, okay. Maybe Freddy was involved with it the whole time.
Yeah.
Who knows? But there's that. All right. So did 12. So Freddy molested Jason. That would have been interesting. Yeah. Number 11. Apparently, besides, let's see how many actors have actually played him. There's been 13 different actors that actually touched on Freddy. I mean, Jason. I'm getting ahead of myself here.
All right, we passed the molestation part.
Yeah, exactly. We've gone past that. In fact, let's not talk about that ever again.
So go on. Who else touched Jason?
Exactly. They touched him a lot. So you have the young boy in number 1, Harry Lehman, who played him, and then the actor from number 2 is Steve Dash. I'm reading this and I'm like, I can't even say it right. Steve Dash, he played him. Warrington Gillette played the unmasked Jason. So there was that when his mask comes flying off or something.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Brooker did him in 3.
The late great Richard Brooker.
Mm-hmm. Ted White in 4. Even though it wasn't Jason in 5. But Tom Morgan has to be given credit because he was using it.
He donned the mask.
Exactly. So he did that. 5.
Yeah, it was 5.
Yeah.
So then,
so 6, CJ Graham, and 6, which to me I think was the best Jason. And then of course 7 is Kane Hodder. He's the one that came in and apparently put the spin, which is funny because I compared him and CJ Graham, and I'm like looking, I'm like it's almost the same. It's just Kane Hodder has a wider walk stance.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever noticed that, like when he walks,
and he's more breathy.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like, I'm like, is he has asthma? Is that the problem? He just wants to get an inhaler? I don't know.
I thought that added a little like menace to it, almost like a frustration thing. Like,
yeah, and I kind of.
That was just my.
But I thought C.J. Graham did that too, with that just standing there with not as heavily breathing as Hodder, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Who was the other guy in 6 that had like a cameo as Jason?
It doesn't say anybody has a cameo. I don't think.
Or not cameo, but there was like I forget his name. He was originally hired for the gig, but then he was a little too not model material.
Yeah, Dan Bradley was cast.
Oh, okay.
Number 6, and he got 2 days of shooting in, but then they replaced him. I'm like, how could you be that bad playing an unscripted, like not saying anything, masked killer?
Well, I think it was they started shooting. They said he was a little too hefty. For it, and there is one thing they shot with him. It's basically a torso shot, and it's like, you know what, that does look a little bigger than the rest of the movie.
True, but then they get Kane Hodder in there, and it's like, dude's just as muscular and everything. I'm like, all right, he's a little top heavy there, don't you think?
No, but I think with the other guy, it was more dad bod than.
That makes sense.
Yeah, sorry, wrong hefty. I'm trying to be PC here.
I know, I got you. Then number 8, we had, besides Kane Hodder, you had Tim Makovich. He plays him when he reverts to a boy after being hit by toxic waste in the sewers of New York, because that's believable. So he just had that one little...
Well, the 80s, I mean, that was very believable.
New York was a melting pot of crap anyway, so that explains a lot, but obviously... actual scenes from that movie were only done a few times in Times Square and all that. The rest of it was in Toronto. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, Toronto...
No, the rest of it was in a boat, and then there was about 15 minutes in Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto.
And I think 10 seconds of him going through Times Square, and that was it.
Yeah, I think they were allowed... the budget allowed for, I think it was like 2 days or something like that, in actual New York.
Yeah, because you can't go to the back studio lots of like Universal or Paramount around them and use their New York scenes. I'm like, you had to go to Toronto? I'm like, dude, you're there. Just do that. Would have made so much sense. Anyways, So, and then moving on. So you got Ken Kurtzinger. Yeah, him too, obviously.
And I forget which one it was. I did hear that. I think he, for a scene or two, was Hodder's stunt double, and I think it was 8. It was either 7 or 8, but I think it was 8.
Something like that, yeah. So,
which I think was part of the reason. What's his name brought him in for that. Well, he was just like, well, he does have some Jason experience, and I just like him.
Well, that, and he was taller than Robert Englund.
Yeah.
Whereas Kane was shorter. So that's the major reason. They wanted someone that would stand over him.
Mm-hmm.
So he was brought in for that, for the Freddy vs. Jason. And then Glenn Ennis was a stuntman that basically stood in for him to do some of the physically difficult stunts. So he came in, so he got to play Jason. And then, let's see. Then they did the reboots, so you have Derek Myers, play Jason, all that. Then they got Caleb Gus, who does the little boy who drowns in the lake and all that. That's about it. So you got those 13. And then, like we mentioned earlier, the 14th one is, Dan Bradley, though he did it for 2 days and got replaced.
Mm-hmm.
But, he still got on the makeup, so.
The other one I heard about, I forget, it might have been in Crystal Lake Memories, but actually in part 2, Jason's very first appearance was, I think I wrote it down. Yeah, Ellen Lutter?
Oh,
she was a costume designer on set, and I guess they were going to shoot something, and they didn't have their Jason ready, and it was just like a body shot, or it might have been feet. So they pulled one of the crew off just to do like a 2-second like walking scene.
Oh yeah, it was the one where he's walking across the street, right? This is the first one. You said the second one, right?
Well, the first Jason movie, but yeah, the part 2.
Yeah.
So like the absolute first time you see Jason at all, even though it's just, like I said, I'm pretty sure it was just his feet. That was actually a woman. So
that explains a lot.
That's
because
kind of cool.
The feet were thin. They were actually nice shoes. If you ever noticed, they're nice, shiny.
I didn't look that
shoes.
far into it. Now I got to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, they weren't grimy, they weren't dirty, and he wore jeans. And he's walking across, and you think, okay, I guess this is Jason tracking down what's her face, and then of course you only see his hand come in to move the teapot over.
Maybe that
did in 2 movies, 2 and 3. I think they had the same joke where he does that to move it off the thing. I'm thinking, okay. But yeah, now I want to go check that out. I want to check those little details again. There's so much you miss in it.
I just, what was it, about a month ago? Yeah, just had a marathon, introduced the kid to the whole series, and I'm surprised I didn't pay more attention to that one.
Yeah. Well,
or that moment, at least. But all right, whatever.
Yeah, after you see it so many times, you just put it on just to put it on and watch it, Don't really think of like, oh, I should study this. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah, at that point, it was, I just want to see his reaction, which, for the most part, it's all eye rolls, because
it's ridiculous. Yeah.
He enjoys it. I think like the rest of us do. It's insane, mindless entertainment. And
exactly. Pop the popcorn, sit back, don't think, because you're just gonna hurt yourself.
All right, let's get it all out.
Exactly. All right. So number 10 on the list, I think everybody knows about this, is that Camp Crystal Lake is actually a Boy Scout camp. No Bebo School.
Yeah, that's it.
No Bebo School, because
up in North Jersey.
Yeah, which is actually still active today, and they actually give tours every once in a while on there, so you can actually go up there. I think they actually do camping, allow people to camp there every once in a while too.
Yeah, they do like a survival. I forget if it's you could do it one night at a time, or if you could like book like the weekend. And actually just in the past year or two, they had Ari and I'm drawing a blank. Alice. That was her name.
It's on the tip of my tongue too. I know who you're talking about.
But yeah, that they actually showed up. It was either last year or the year before.
That's pretty cool.
For that whole event.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to go, and I just didn't have I think it was like $200 a head or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I didn't have that on me.
Yeah. Well, now you're working 2 jobs, so there you go. Do it next time. So, all right. So number 10, that was whatever. Number 9, something I didn't even realize. Jason's original mask was not a hockey mask. It was an umpire's mask originally. Apparently in the script, it was written as that, and he was going to put this on. But somewhere during, I guess, talking about it and everything, they thought it was just too much because you'd have to have all this makeup on underneath this this mask that you could see through. And then, if I remember correctly, it was Savini that said, "Hey, I have this mask out there. I can make it real quick." And he made the hockey mask from what is the name? I forget. I want to say the Red Wings. I forget. A goalie hockey mask.
I remember hearing, I forget, who it was, but somebody in the crew, I think, actually played hockey or something.
Yeah,
and it was
just
just kind of like,
had to
here,
have it.
I got this in my bag, try this.
Yeah, they made a mold of it and everything and made it, and they figured, okay, covers the face, less makeup, there you go, and it just looks, there you go. Rest is history.
Yeah, I knew, well, because, I think initially it was just like, all right, we got to figure out something. I know they were tossing ideas around. I didn't realize umpire's mask was in the mix there for possibilities.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. So, all right, so moving on, number 8. I think we all know this one, is that several of the movies never take place on Friday the 13th. Like 1 and 2 do, because it's back to back, like right after. 3 takes place after 2 is done, but that lasted 3 days, so it was on Saturday that movie finished, and then Monday. And I think the only time...
And then 4 followed directly from 3.
Yeah.
Wasn't there, though? I could have it confused with something else. I thought in 2, like, it started off immediately after, but I thought there was, like... I thought it was, like, a 5-year jump or something. From, like, the opening of the movie...
Yeah, and I think that's what happened. It starts with the opening. 4 begins immediately after 3, but then it jumps forward because...
well, I'm saying from 1 to 2.
Yeah, 1 to 2...
I thought they said there was like a jump in that.
No, because she wakes up in the hospital.
Well,
yeah.
they
Yeah, now that I think about it...
Now,
yeah,
they basically, recap on the first one, and then...
Oh, wait. Yeah, Friday...
I should have researched this.
I know. 2 starts when she kills the mother, so it does start on Friday the 13th. But then she goes to sleep in the boat, so it's the next day, so it's actually Saturday. And then from
then they show her, like, she's, off doing her own thing.
Yeah.
Has the phone conversation with her mom, like, kind of put herself in isolation to deal with things. But I think from Alice's death, spoiler, to, when Paul goes to reopen things, I thought they said there was like a jump in that.
Yeah, I mean, there might have been, but either way, it definitely didn't take place on that. It's not until number 6 that a deputy actually says the date is actually Friday the 13th.
Happy Friday the 13th.
Exactly. And then 7's supposed to be at the beginning of Friday the 13th. And of course, several days go by in that movie, which we've seen night, day. But outside of that, yeah, that's... Outside of the first one, that's just comes around to 6, and then I don't even know when the other ones take place at.
Yeah, but number 1 makes up for it, because doesn't it take place over 2 Friday the 13th?
I don't know.
It opened up on Friday the 13th, and then...
Yeah, I mean, she said today's Friday the 13th is his birthday. That I remember, but other than that, so who knows? And speaking of Jason's mom...
She's a... No.
Betsy Palmer, the actress that actually played her, never would have been in the movie. Oh, this is number 7, by the way. If she didn't need a new car. Apparently, the story is her car broke down, and she was technically offered the job and was about to turn it down until that happened, and found out the money to fix the car was exactly the same amount to play this role. And she's like, okay.
And... there's speculation out there that it was actually Sean Cunningham that
broke your car.
Yeah.
Well,
people are okay. I just made that up.
That would have been cool if it was true, though. It's like, he wanted her so bad. It's like, I'm gonna bust her brakes. But interesting fact about that too is that besides having her in there, they were also supposed to have flashbacks of Jason's father, whose name was supposed to be Ellis, and several other of the kids, like a family type of thing. There was like a sister and a niece and all that were supposed to come in.
Which
Eventually made it in there in 9, because, only through a Voorhees can he be reborn.
Yeah, I remember.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I was like, come on.
Seriously? Keep it in the family, man.
I know, right?
But yeah, I think that was the original. I forget. I don't think they shot it, but it was at least scripted that the original ending was supposed to be possibly even like a mid or post credit thing, where Elias Voorhees, it comes out that he hired the caretaker to watch over Jason's grave.
It was supposed
the
to be
old fart
6.
head.
Yeah, part 6, and that was cut from the script, and then all this other stuff. It's like, oh my god, it just got ridiculous. All right, so moving on to number 6. We all know this. Camp Crystal Lake is rarely the set-in for it. Well, we knew that because it would move around to various locations. Even though they say, oh, we're at this lake, it's not. The next lake's over. Something's Crystal Lake and this and that.
Yeah, it's always in the vicinity.
Yeah, I mean, until they went back into 6 and 7, that's the only time it ever took place on Crystal Lake, and the beginning of 8. But let's face it, because otherwise, this is the biggest freaking lake I've ever seen.
Hey, say what you want about the Final Friday, but at least it wasn't Jason Takes Manhattan.
Oh, true. But then again, I would take Jason Takes Manhattan myself. The Final Friday. The body jumping, no. I take I can walk while everyone else runs away from me and still catch up to him.
But it was a brisk walk.
Well, yeah.
Because you got them younger, healthier bodies.
Well, true. But, everyone else is tripping, falling, then stopping, I'll hide behind this tree. He won't find me behind, he's watching you because he's just walking. He's like, really? You really just stopped? Okay. I'm going to come this way while you look that way. It's like, come on. So that's number 6. All right, number 5, and I was surprised by this one. It's the reoccurring hockey mask. Ever since he got the mask, the same prop has been used all the way to through 6. So I'm trying to remember.
3 through 6?
Yes, 3 through 6 minus 5, obviously, because that's a different type of mask. But it's been the same mask all the way up through there. I think just with some minor changes, but apparently they said they used the same prop.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. If that's what it was, the exact prop.
Yeah, let me just recheck.
Or at least the
notes.
same mold.
Yeah, that's what it is. Let me just double check my notes and make sure I'm reading this correctly. Yeah, it's...
Horn blows, does the driver?
Okay, sorry, I'm on the phone. No, so it's the same mask, so they kept using the same one over and over again, so I'm like, okay. That's pretty interesting.
So at least there's some continuity.
Yep. And, alright, so this is interesting. Number 4, 2 actors that were in Friday the 13th movies were also in Friday the 13th, the TV series. Apparently, John D. LeMay, who played Ryan Dalian in the TV series, appeared in Jason Goes to Hell.
He was Steven, right?
I believe so. I think that was his name in there. And then you had the kid that played Tommy Jarvis, the older version, the second appearance of him,
John Shepherd.
Appeared in the episode The Baron's Bride of the TV series, so they kind of have that kind of crossover. I mean, the series had the same type of producers and everything, but they wanted to just keep the name just to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Use that. Otherwise, it was going to be called the 13th Hour.
Oh, yeah.
But that went somewhere else, so they used that. It's like, let's ride their coattails. Yay! I mean, it lasted 4 seasons, so there you go. All right, number 2, getting down to it. We're almost there. Yeah. All right, number 2, Kane Hodder, besides playing Jason, has played Freddy and one of Jason's victims. Apparently, in Jason Goes to Hell, he is actually wearing Freddy's glove. So he got to play Freddy. So that's cool. And he was a security guard that gets killed by Jason. So I don't know. Would you say
his
killed himself?
third victim in the movie?
Yeah, playing security guard number 2. I'm like, I wonder how that happened. Like, who? Oh, it must have been the stunt man that actually doubled for him to play Jason. Otherwise, it's kind of weird.
Well, he was killed off screen.
Well, yeah, when you think about that. Oh, that's
So
right.
he comes out, and it was the coroner.
Yes.
That was now Jason, and he just comes walking out, and you got the 2 guards there.
That's right.
And that was my favorite part was, Hodder was just like, he was nothing but just a big pussy anyway. And then they go to the news story, and you just see him there, like, just
that's right. I
massacred. I'm sorry, did I forget to mention I've watched that a bunch of times?
No, not at all. I hate that movie. Anyways. Maybe, I mean, like, we tried watching it one time, because we did an entire run. We got up there and we're watching, we're like, okay, the heart starts beating, and the first thing you think of is, let me bite this bitch. You're like, and then the reflection in the mirror, I'm thinking, what the hell is this?
I didn't realize this till I didn't make the connection until recently. That that was the first Friday that I saw in theaters.
Oh wow!
And then everything that's come out since then I did, but man, none of the I have not seen one Paramount era Friday the 13th in theaters, and it's kind of heartbreaking.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I think 9 was the first one I saw in theaters too.
Yeah, and I remember 10. Again, like I said, coming off of 8, and it was just like, all right, well, New Line's got it, and I remember even thinking then, like, yeah, the house that Freddy built is now making Jason movies, and but yeah, I had such a sour taste about 8 that when I saw that, I loved it. I walked out of the theater, I was thrilled. I'm like, Jason's back, and all excited and all. And out of fairness, the more I watch it, I'm like, all right, now I understand. I still don't hate it, but I understand why everyone hates it.
Yeah, I mean,
because it does lose a little bit. It definitely doesn't hold up for me with each watch.
Yeah, because I mean, all of a sudden you have this bounty hunter that's known for years. I'm like, so you waited 8 whole movies and over 232 deaths out of everything to come out. It's like, on the news, the thing you know is Jason isn't Jason. It's a demon, and only this can kill him. I'm like, and you've had it the entire time? Yeah.
I don't know. He seemed pretty dead at the start of 6.
Yeah, well.
I'm pretty sure if Tommy didn't just, have his little OCD moment.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta make sure he's dead. I'm pretty sure he'd still be dead right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he chopped that crap out. He's like, here's a salad. Jason salad. And it's like, all right, but now it's a dagger that has to kill him. I'm like, okay, whatever. All right, number 1, we made it. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Something we kind of touched on earlier. Jason prefers blondes. Apparently, if you really look at all the survivors, all the final girls, they're all blonde. Every one of them.
What about, was it Rennie?
Rennie.
8?
Part 8?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, I think she had darker hair.
Nope, blonde. Dirty blonde.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, 1, 2, 3, yep, all hair. Her hair was more brown than blonde, but at least it's a light brown. But it's still, they call that dirty blonde. So, sorry.
It's how I like my blondes.
Yeah. So apparently all the blondes have more fun because they get to get away from Jason. So there you go. So there's the 13 top things you probably didn't know about Friday the 13th. Because, what else are we going to talk about in the movies, I mean, we all have our favorites. 9 over here.
I didn't say it was my favorite. I just said I loved it when I walked out of the theater.
True. I have to stick with 6. 6 will be the all-time one that got me in there. 7 was a good follow-up because Kane Hodder's first appearance, and you got to see Jason's spinal cord.
See, I know a lot of people hate on, I know a lot of people hate on 7 in general, but that's still my favorite looking Jason of all of them, because it's the only one where, I mean, Beckler, actually took the time, okay, here's all the damage he took, but and the fact that he incorporated, like when that mask came off, I'm like, oh my, like that shows everything that's ever been done to Jason.
Exactly.
So as far as the accuracy, that was always my favorite one.
Well, what about the fact that all of a sudden Jason seems to have all these utensils that came out of nowhere? Like he's chasing the doctor through there, and all of a sudden you hear ring, ring.
Oh, the weed whacker with the circular saw blade on there.
The weed whacker, like all of a sudden, like where the hell did he get that from? When did he have time to go to a supply shed, find that, then catch up with the doctor?
Underground tunnels.
We're not talking about that crap fest. In fact, I refuse to talk about the remake because when you have a dude that says you have great nipple placement, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done.
They were stupendous.
Well, that's beside the fact you don't talk during it and ruin the moment. It's like, come on, this isn't for you. It's for us.
On some level, though, yeah, Trent was a satisfying kill, though.
Yeah, I will admit.
I mean, he got killed, 2 or 3 times in that one scene?
Yeah. And I will admit, the kill factor in that movie, am I thinking of that one, or am I thinking of... Oh, no, I'm thinking of Freddy versus Jason. Like, when he stabs the kid in the bed after doing the deed, and you're like, Clyde, he gets dead. I'm like, all right, he's definitely dead. There's nothing else they can... Oh, my God, he just closed the bed on him. I'm like, whoa, okay. And then you got the high girl in the shower going, what's going on? And then something comes out and slips. I'm like, why didn't he just go in there and just go and stab her through the shower? That would have been awesome. But anyways.
Because she just got stabbed.
Exactly.
He was letting her have an extra moment.
Yeah. She was supposed to be Freddy's victim, but it didn't work out.
But yeah, where are you as far as Jason's? Like, which is your favorite?
Well, my favorite, like I said, 6 is always going to be on my top 10 because I like the set-ins that they set up. I like the kills. I mean, if I remember correctly, that is the first sleep and bake kill where he drags the girl out of the
that was 7.
Or that was 7? Well, either one. Like 6 and 7 are my favorites, I think. 8.
What about as far as the character? Like as far as your favorite Jason?
My favorite Jason. That is a good one. I like I said, I like the way 6 was. It was menacing. It was there. I think his clothes was a little too clean after being buried, and I'm thinking, well, why was he buried with that and a utility belt and gloves? Then realizing that was the people that brought it there, like the man. Like, why would you bring the hockey mask with you, or a hockey mask in general, just to dig him up to verify he's dead? And then it's like saying, here, let me bring all these machetes with me too, just
Oh, he didn't?
Exactly. It's like all of a sudden...
That's where he screwed up.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the same time, like, they even take the time to even put good clothes on him to bury him. I mean, it's like, come on.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah, the overalls fresh from the laundromat.
Yeah.
It seemed like...
And at the same time, too, like, when Tommy Jarvis killed him the first time, chopping him to bits, there shouldn't be any open casket. They should have immediately went to cremation. It's like, this is...
Which they did mention in 5. They were talking when they're like, oh, Jason's back. And they're like, oh, he was cremated. But then it was like, well, did you see it?
Yeah, true. So that kind of covered it.
But obviously he wasn't cremated.
No, it's like, I mean, they came up with a great idea to have the ashes reduced. See, that would have been great in Jason Goes to Hell, to make something like that. That would have made sense.
And Harry Potter comes in and...
New meaning to flu powder. But, yeah, so 6 will always stay there. 7...
That's what they should have done.
What? Okay.
Instead of... It would have made far more sense than the whole heart-eating thing. Because, yeah, I agree. Like, and
have the dust get into people?
But, yeah, for 6, what they could have done was actually continued with that he was cremated, and then Tommy took the ashes and did a line, because I mean he did escape from a mental institution, and then they could have done that as the possession episode.
And that's the other thing, he's supposed to have escaped from a mental institution, and then suddenly no one's caught up with him yet. It's like, you think he'd be back.
Well, it was dark and stormy, so
yeah, well, you think he would be like, hey, Tommy Jarvis isn't here, he's supposed to be.
Where's our truck?
Yeah, exactly.
And Horseshack.
Yeah. Hey, gang. I mean, it would have been great.
Oh, Tommy.
Yeah, because actually, what would have been cool with that, if instead of doing the whole Frankenstein thing, like have him cremated, he digs up the ashes, and then somehow the ashes infect Horshack or whatever his name is.
They could have gone Return of the Living Dead with that.
Something like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he took the urn and then it gets in the air and then it starts raining and then...
Well, don't go that far, but like gets into his body and it's like a parasite and it transforms his body into Jason over time throughout the whole movie. And now we have the original Jason. See, that would have made more sense to me.
You know what though? There has it's. I don't know if I'm just noticing it more lately, or if just a lot of people are doing it. But all these like fan films that are coming up on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So there you go. I think we're in the process of writing something.
There you go. Yeah, we got a new thing. We'll have to get on it now.
Squeeze that in our schedules.
Exactly. So yeah. So there. That's the Friday the 13th stuff I came up with, and yeah, I think. We're already at literally 1 hour. So we filled an entire episode with Friday the 13th.
That is probably some of our best rambles yet.
Yeah. And they actually made sense too. That's the funny part.
So look, we may not have been 100% coherent, but this was different.
And in fact, I had a good time. Did you have a good time?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So I was like talking about those movies because, again, ridiculous.
Exactly. So next year we'll probably talk about it again if we ever get to it. So.
And then maybe we'll work on some of that professionalism by that point.
What?
Oh,
please.
Where's the fun in that?
Yeah, we're like 9. There's no professionalism. And then we're just doing whatever comes natural. Hey, look, a beating heart. And now I'm possessing this. Yeah, whatever. You possess someone, you think you would be like, hey, I got a new body. Let me.
You gotta admit, it did look kind of juicy, though.
Well, that's because it was oversized and everything. You think he would. I think he had that. What is that disease? Your heart is oversized, so it's like no wonder he was almost dying.
I think of elephantitis, but
yeah,
I know there's like a specific thing for that.
Yeah, you think Jason would just jump into a body and be like, forget this, I ain't killing anybody. Let's go get. You know, I think he jumped into like a decent looking guy one time throughout the whole movie, and I'm like, now you look great. Why don't you go out and live life now? It's like, hey, I got a great body. You know what I haven't tried lately?
I'm just having Spider-Man 3.
If it comes out, yeah, that would've been awesome. Yeah, just have him go.
All right, I'm gonna start working on some shorts now.
There you go. So, yeah. So I think we'll kind of wrap this episode up for now, and then hopefully we'll be able to get back soon, do another episode. Try to do monthly like we said we would. I mean, we did the first 3-ish in a month, kind of, almost. Well, at least 2 and 3.
Another 2-3 years from now, we'll have this thing down to a science.
Exactly. But I know you people keep listening no matter what we do, so. And maybe for next month we'll get one episode out, and then for October I know we're going to be completely swamped, so maybe we'll have like mini episodes, quickies, whatever you want to call it, just anything that might come up. Maybe do 5-minute like quick, throw it up there just to give you guys something to listen to if you enjoy listening to us ramble on about something silly, but there's new horror movies coming out, so we'll see what we can come up with.
Yeah, maybe get back to some reviews and
exactly.
We're working. It's a work in progress.
Exactly. Hopefully they'll come out with Friday the 13th soon, end this lawsuit, and we can get back to watching what we love.
Yeah, we promise the next episode will be out before the next Friday the 13th movie.
Exactly. Might take us 3 years, but I was going to say before the next Friday the 13th, but I'm like, well, isn't that actually next month too? I think there's like 3 of them this year.
Okay.
I think. Don't quote me on that, but we'll find out. So, all right. You want to wrap it up for us, Jay? I was about to call you Jason. I'm like, what the?
I thought you were calling me G.
No, I was gonna say J. Yeah, I'm like, wait, no, it starts with a D.
Josh.
Yeah.
Just call me
here, Josh.
His name was Josh.
See, I got Jason on the brain. I'm gonna have to watch the movie to get rid of it.
Yeah, so once again, thank you everyone for listening, whoever's left out there. And yeah, if you want to check us out, we have a website, crypticsouls.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and we have a YouTube channel where we're trying to post, the episodes on there, and hopefully down the road we'll get some, like we were discussing earlier, maybe some snippets or things like that. We're also contemplating maybe doing like a makeup tutorial on the channel, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all under Kryptic Soulz. As always, Kryptic with a K, Souls with a Z. And as far as podcatchers, we have all of them. We got Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio. If you go to the website, you'll see pretty much everything we're on, and there's shit on there I didn't even know existed. So again, wherever you listen to podcasts, type in Kryptic Soulz. Chances are we're going to pop up on there. And I believe that's it. We're hoping in the next 2 weeks, start on episode 5. If anybody has any ideas out there, catch us on any of the social medias and throw out some suggestions. Do you have anything else to add?
Just thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Say goodbye, Dave.
Goodbye, Dave.